We are so fortunate to have Valerie Brown here with us today. What a gift to all of us. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Valerie before I turn it over to her. Valerie fell in love with Mother Earth, connecting with an old sycamore on her street, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, and then working as a farmhand, planting garlic at Ghost Ranch, which is near my home and a place dear to my heart. 21,000 acres of high desert wilderness. And now as a professional pilgrim leading an annual transformational journey to El Camino de Santiago, Spain, to celebrate the power of sacred places. She transformed her high-pressure 20-year career as a lawyer lobbyist, representing educational institutions and nonprofits to human-scale work with leaders and teams to foster trustworthy, compassionate, and authentic connections. Valerie began practicing mindfulness in the Plum Village tradition in 1995, was ordained by our teacher Ty in the Order of Inner Being in 2003, and was this year ordained as a Dharma teacher. How lucky for all of us. She is also a member of the Religious Society of Friends, Quakers, a certified Kundalini yoga teacher. She helps leaders discover the wisdom of the body. Valerie is also an accredited leadership coach, international retreat leader, writer, and chief mindfulness officer of Lead Smart Coaching, specializing in application and integration of mindfulness and leadership, and is a faculty member of Georgetown's Institute of Transformational Leadership. Her books include The Road That Teaches, Lessons in Transformation Through Travel, The Mindful School Leader, Practices to Transform Your Leadership and School. Valerie's extensive training includes the Center for Courage and Renewal and Parker J. Palmer, the Institute for Transformational Leadership at Georgetown University, the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare and Society, the Center for Compassion-Focused Therapy, the Ojai Foundation, the C.G. Jung Foundation for Analytical Psychology, Chestnut Hill College, Certificate in Holistic Spirituality, and the Leadership Circle Profile. Woo. And I know Valerie, with the invitation I sent out, I included Valerie's email address and her website. And maybe when you get a chance, Valerie, at some point you can just put that in the chat for everybody before we hang up, in case anybody would like to access that when we're done. So with no further ado, we're welcoming Valerie Brown. Thank you so much.
Dear Ty, dear beloved community, dear Sangha, I hope everybody can hear. Sort of just give a thumbs up. So I have everyone on gallery view so I can see your beautiful faces. Okay, so I hope I hope you can. So I'd like to begin with an opening verse, and that will be followed by a 10-minute sit. I'll share a brief Dharma talk, and then we'll have an opportunity for Dharma sharing. So I'm just looking through the schedule. We'll have a closing meditation, and that's the plan. So is that acceptable to the community? Would that work for everyone? Okay, great. So I want to also begin by thanking Nomi and the community for inviting me to participate in this community call. On Friday, I was part of a community call organized by people of color, and it was a beautiful opportunity, through Zoom to connect. So I'm very, very grateful that we're here together to share this time. So our verse, the Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that the collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, as one body, transcending the boundaries of the delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex. So again, good morning, dear Thai, dear beautiful community. This Dharma Talk, which will be about 10 minutes in length, is entitled, What Love Can Do, Healing Ourselves, Healing a Polarized World. The title of this talk comes from the words of William Penn, who was a 17th century American Quaker. Penn said, "Let us see then what love can do." So in this Dharma Talk, we'll explore ways to cultivate inner wisdom and compassion for greater healing and greater transformation, both individually and collectively. So we live in a time of so-called fake news. We live in a time where so-called alternate facts seem to be present everywhere. Simplistic solutions from those in the highest offices of American culture and country are being offered to complex problems. And all of this is fostering polarization, tribalism, and division within the United States, within the world. And this is not just happening here in the United States. Just this week, I returned from an international trip to Cuba. And so my perspective is much broader than what is happening in the US. So in the face of this kind of polarization, it's important to recognize what is authentic, what is truthful, and what is genuine within us, within our communities, within the world. And when we touch what is genuine within us, when we touch what is real, we can cut through illusion. So our beloved teacher, Thai, Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, has given us a path. He has said that mindfulness, concentration, and insight can help us to see clearly. When we are mindful, when we are concentrated, we know what's happening right now. We can see what is fake and what is real. When we are concentrated, we can focus. We're not distracted. And when we have insight, we can draw on the lessons of the past to remember, and to know how to act in the present. So this is not about whether we agree or disagree. This is not good or bad, but this is really about understanding the immense complexity and the interbeing nature of each and every person and all things. So each person, of course, is a product of the skandhas: form, feelings, perceptions, mental formation, and consciousness. And therefore, each person we encounter is a product of complexity. So what does this require of us? What practices concretely can we each do in the face of this polarization and complexity? So I would like to offer 4 practices. The first practice is, as with social justice and equity work, the healing begins with ourselves. And especially in a polarized environment, it's important to recognize that this is lifelong work. This is not once and done. And so it's very important to understand that we cannot act alone, that not much is going to happen. It's not an individual thing. Community Sangha is important. And to that regard, I want to share with you an excerpt from this beautiful poem by the poet Marge Piercy. The poem is called The Low Road. And I'm just going to share a small part of the poem, and I'll send you the text of it. She says about community: 2 people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. 3 people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With 4, bridge and start an organization. With 6, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a party. A dozen fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one time, one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we. So the importance of the Sangha. So that's number 1, Sangha. Practice number 2, in a polarized, divisive environment. So mindfulness, concentration, and insight is not just about intention, good intention, well-meaning intention. Good intentions are, we must consider the impact of our intention. What are the consequences, the impact of what we intend? And so this requires awareness. The third practice in a polarized environment, well, we have to get comfortable with ambiguity. Cultivate your own curiosity and cultivate a heart of love. So I think I said 4 practices. There are 3. That's a lot of work right there. So intention and impact, community, and cultivating curiosity in the face of ambiguity. So I'd like to end with the words of Margaret Wheatley. And again, just an excerpt. She says, "Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters." So thank you for your deep listening. So I think this is the time for Sangha sharing. So Nomi, I would have to ask your advice as to how to manage this, to bring the Sangha into various groups.
Thank you so much, Valerie. What a beautiful sharing.
This is Valerie bowing in. Thank you all for your participation in Dharma Sharing. I'd like to turn to a closing, and this being the Earth Holders Sangha. Every time I think of the Earth Holders Sangha, I think of this beautiful poem by our teacher, Please Call Me by My True Names. So I'd like to offer a very non-traditional closing to this beautiful gathering that we've had today by reading just a fragment from by Thai as a way of closing our time together, offering 3 breaths. My bell is in the other room, I have it at the moment, but just offering 3 breaths and an excerpt from that beautiful poem, Please Call Me by My True Names. My joy is like spring. Flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see in pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up and the door of my heart could be left open. The door of compassion. So shall we take 3 together?
Thank you, Valerie. So we now have an opportunity to introduce ourselves. Valerie, I don't know if you have any last word you'd like to share.
This is Valerie bowing in. I couldn't quite get what you were saying. I think you said something about thoughts to share, that if I had thoughts to share, gratitude is what I would say. Deep gratitude to the Earth Holder community, to the large, to our beloved teacher, to Mother Earth. Thank you for being on the call. I know your time is valuable, for your deep listening, and for building the beloved community today. So, Valerie, bowing out.
So thank you, everyone. And maybe we'll see you again next month.
Thank you.
Always the 2nd Sunday of the month. So hope to see you here. Bye-bye.
Bye.